Okay, today is lesson 1-4A, solving equations. We will be learning how to solve an equation by using the PCVNA technique. So to solve the equations, we will be using the following device, PCVNA. P stands for parentheses. You get rid of them by distributing. So for instance, if I have 4 times x plus 3, you would always simplify this by distributing. So we would do 4 times x, which is 4x, and then 4 times 3, which is 12. So we need to get rid of those parentheses by distributing. In our next example, or in our next step, we have the combined like terms, which is one side at a time. So we would, I'm just going to write an example. So 3x plus 2x equals 9x plus 1. We wouldn't do 3x plus 2x plus 9x. We would only do 3x and our 2x. We only look at what's inside one box at a time. So 3x plus 2x is 5x. And then we would just say 9x plus 1. Variable to the left-hand side of your equal. N stands for numbers on the right-hand side of your equal. So this is your left. This is your right. And then last but not least, A, the attached number to your x you get rid of by dividing. So if you have a 6x, you divide by 6, divide by 6, and so forth. All right. So level 1, the one-step equation. So before we go into this, I forgot to say your scenarios. If you get x to be equal to a number, that number is your only answer. So if I get like x equals 3, that means 3 is my final answer. If I get the same number on both sides of my equal sign, so like if I get 3 equals 3, that means I have an infinite amount of solutions, meaning I can plug in any value of x and my equation will work. And last but not least, I have the different number versus a different number. So if I have, like, say, 9 equals 1,000, I have no solution because those are two different answers. I can't plug in any value of x in the real numbers to get an answer. So level 1 questions, your one-step equations. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to write our PCVNA technique. So PCVNA. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight my x to basically be like, oh, don't touch your x. I have to ask myself if I have parentheses. I do not. C stands for combine like terms. I can't combine x and 7. Nothing to combine with my 37. All my variables are on the left-hand side. My numbers, though, aren't. So I have to get rid of this plus 7. I need to ask myself, how do I get rid of that add 7? I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides of my equation. When I do 37 minus 7, I get x to be equal to 30. And that's my final answer. The minute you get x by itself, you're done. Number 2, I have 3x equal to 9. So I do PCVNA. I have to ask myself if I have any parentheses. I don't have parentheses. Can't combine a 3x with anything. Can't combine 9 with anything. All my variables are on the left-hand side. My numbers that are hanging out by itself, just my 9. So I need to get rid of the 3 that's attached to my x. So to do that, I need to ask myself what's going on between 3 and my x. There is no addition, no subtraction, no division, so it's multiplication. So I need to ask myself how I can cancel out that multiplication, and I would do that by using division. So I'm going to divide by 3 on both sides of my equation. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. So my final answer is x equals 3. Question number 3. I'm going to do my PCVNA technique. So I have to ask myself if I have parentheses. I don't have parentheses. Can't combine x and minus 5. My variables are on the left-hand side, so that's good. My numbers, though, are not all together. I need to get rid of this minus 5. So I need to ask myself, how do I get rid of a minus 5? Well, I add 5 to both sides of my equation. When I add 5, I do 12 plus 5, and I get 17 as my final answer. So I'm saying x has to be equal to 17. Okay, level 2 questions now. PCVNA. I have 7m minus 17 equals 60. I'm just going to, copy and paste this. That way I don't have to retype it everywhere. Rewrite it. is paste. Paste, and then paste. Okay, number 1, I have 7m minus 17 equals 60. I need to ask myself if I have parentheses. I don't. I need to ask myself if I can combine 7m and minus 17. I can't. Nothing to combine with 60. All my variables are on the left-hand side of my equation, but my numbers aren't. I have a minus 17 I need to get rid of. So I'm going to add 17 to both sides of my equation, and I get 7m equals 77. And then my final step is to get rid of that 7 by dividing. So I'm going to divide both sides of my equation by 7, and I get m is equal to 11. That's my final answer. Number 2, I have 7 plus 3x equals 40. I need to ask myself if I have parentheses. I don't. Can I combine 7 and a 3x? I can't. Are all my variables on the left-hand side? They are, but my numbers aren't. So I need to get this 7 to the right-hand side. So the only way to get rid of that 7 is to subtract 7, because it's already positive. So I'm going to subtract 7, subtract 7. So I get 3x equals 33, because 40 minus 7 is 33. Now all my numbers are on the right-hand side. Now I get rid of that number attached to my x by dividing. So I'm going to divide both sides of my equation by 3. And I get x to be equal to 11. And that's my final answer. So I get 11 again. Number 3. 12 plus 5y equals 17. Let's use a different color this time. I don't have parentheses. Can't combine 12 and 5y. My variables are on the left. My numbers aren't. So I have to get rid of this 12. So I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides of my equation. So I get 5y equals 15, because 27 minus 12 is 15. So now my numbers are on the right-hand side. Now I need to ask myself how to get rid of that 5. So I'm going to divide both sides of my equation by 5. So when I divide by 5, I get y is equal to 3. And that's my final answer. Number 4, I have 8 plus 6x equals negative 4. I have no parentheses. Can't combine 8 and 6x. Can't combine negative 4 with anything. My variables are on the left, so that's good. My numbers aren't, though. My numbers aren't good. I need to get rid of this 8. So how do I get rid of a plus 8? I subtract 8 from both sides of my equation. So I get 6x equals negative 4 minus 8 is negative 12. And then I have to ask myself, how do I get rid of that 6? I get rid of it by dividing. So I'm going to divide both sides of my equation by 6. And I get x to be equal to negative 2. It's all right to get a negative number as your final answer. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do some level 3 where there's x on both sides of the equal sign. So this is the common one where students do make an error because they're going to start combining 10x and 9x, but you can't combine them. So do I have parentheses? I do not. Can I combine 10x and 9? Nope. What about 9x minus 1? Nope. Are all your variables on the left-hand side? They aren't. So I need to move this 9x. It's positive. So I'm going to subtract 9x from both sides of my equation. 10x minus 9x is just x, or 1x. So I'm going to do x plus 9 equals negative 1. So all my variables are on one side. Numbers. Are all my numbers on one side? They aren't, because I have a plus 9. So I get rid of that plus 9 by subtracting 9. And then I get x is equal to negative 1 minus 9, which is negative 10, as my final answer. Number 2. I have negative 6x plus 2 equals negative 5x plus 5. I have to ask myself if I have parentheses. I don't. I need to ask myself if I can combine like terms. I can't combine negative 6x and 2, and I can't combine negative 5x and 5. So nothing to combine. Are all my variables on one side? They are not. I need to move this negative 5x to the left-hand side. So to do that, I'm going to add 5x to both sides of my equation. And notice I'm putting it under my x because that's its like term on the other side. Negative 5 plus 5 cancels. Negative 6x plus 5x is negative 1x. I have negative 1x plus 2 equals 5. Now all my x's are on one side. I need to get my numbers on the other, so I need to get rid of this plus 2. To do that, I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides of my equation. 5 minus 2 is 3, so I have negative 1x equals 3. Now I divide both sides of my equation by this negative 1, and I get x is equal to negative 3 as my final answer. Number 3, I have x plus 5 equals 5x plus 25. I am very forgetful, and I forget that this is a 1x, so I'm going to put a 1x there. I don't have parentheses. Can't combine any like terms. My variables aren't on one side, so I got to move them. I'm going to move my 5x, so I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. 1x minus 5x is negative 4x, so I have negative 4x plus 5 equals 25. Now all my variables are on one side. Now I need to move my number, so I need to move that 5. It's positive, so I got to subtract it. Subtract 5, subtract 5. Now all my numbers are on one side, and last but not least, I have to get rid of that negative 4 by dividing. So I'm going to divide by negative 4. When I divide by negative 4, I get x is equal to negative 5 as my final answer. Number 4, I have negative 8x plus 3 equals negative 6x plus 11. No parentheses, no combining, not like terms, not like terms. Variables are not on one side, so I need to move them. So how do I get rid of my minus 6x? I add 6x. So add 6x. Negative 8 plus 6 is a negative 2, so I have negative 2x plus 3 equals 11. I now need to get rid of my numbers, so my plus 3. So take away 3, take away 3. Negative 2x equals 11 minus 3 is 8. And then last but not least, I divide by my negative 2. So divide by negative 2, and I get x is equal to negative 4. And that's your final answer. X is equal to negative 4. You don't have to write 1x. You do not have to write 1x. And those are how you solve level 1, level 2, and level 3 equations. Don't forget to complete your delta math.